really good at answering questions. Like Hillary is no slouch when it comes to putting her on the defensive.
The last few times she did interviews, she described herself as flat broke. Which, let me tell you something. Before you can explain to someone about the Clinton Foundation taking foreign donations, you don't have to explain to anybody how troubling it is for Hillary Clinton, who hasn't driven herself in her own vehicle in 20 years, to call herself flat broke.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining us now is that woman, Nicolle Wallace, co-host of The View on ABC, former White House Communications Director for George W. Bush, and the author of a great new novel. If you like political novels, there it is. It's Madam President. And Nicolle, congratulations on everything. We haven't talked since The View and the book, the whole thing.
I know, we're going to do this more often, right? We say that every time.
Yes. No. We're going to call you. So, and I got your email, so we're going to do it. And you're in the city, maybe you could pop up. But anyway, I don't want to get greedy. All right, so first of all, the book. You wrote a novel about a female president, and she's in office, and the media is following around on like an open access kind of thing, and boom, 5 terrorist attacks happen at once.
Right, and there were some people in the media who asked me, oh, how timely, Madam President, and Hillary just announced. And I said, oh, no. She's a Republican, folks. So she's a Republican woman president. She's a former California governor. And I really borrowed and stole from my day of working as a White House staffer on September 11th.
Right.
And when George W. Bush's book, Decision Points, came out, he writes in the early chapters about how he knew the country would move on, and that was very healthy, but he would never forget. And I have chills just remembering his very moving passage. And I felt that way as a staffer too. And I've gone down to the 9/11 memorial, and I can't go inside yet. I mean, there's just something about meeting the families of the people who lost their lives on the plane that went down in Shanksville, and meeting the relatives who lost loved ones. And I just never got over it. So this book is about every minute detail in one single day in the life of a White House staff.
And you know what you're talking about, and that's what makes it so wonderful, such a wonderful read. And I got to tell you, to be honest with you, when I sit here with Donald Rumsfeld, when I sat here in studio with you, when I sit here with John Yoo, to me, you're all part of that day. You're all part of that history. And I get a chill. I really do, for what it's worth. And so that's my way of, and your way is how you react by not being able to go in there. But you're part of what happened that day. And it's all, folks, that's what makes the book so great. It's called Madam President by Nicolle Wallace. Now, you said something that interests me. We only have about 3 minutes, so I want to get a lot of things in. You said that Hillary's email problem at the beginning, at least, was a media problem, not a political problem, and you don't know if it would become a political problem. Do you think it has become a political problem?
I think that to the degree that it's a chapter in this book now, I mean, I think Clinton Cash is such an indictment of the way they operate. My point was that if you follow the Clintons, and I have always been fascinated with the Clintons, they're like the political version of Kardashians. You know it's not good for you, but you can't look away.
Right.
So I have always followed them. This is how they operate. They think the rules aren't for them. People do unseemly things in the name of loyalty to them, and it's what they have always done. So to me, I was never shocked that she kept her. She took liberties that the president doesn't take in keeping her emails on a personal server in her house.
Right.
I didn't think it was surprising, and I didn't think it would jolt her base of support. And honestly, she still has about an 80% approval rating among Democrats. But as a piece of the narrative, along with the stunning book Clinton Cash, along with the email snafu, along with sort of a perception that she won't answer all the questions about Benghazi, it has eroded her trustworthiness in the view of voters.
Right. All right, Bernie Sanders. I mean, you're now in the for better or for worse, you're in the mainstream media, whether it's MSNBC, whether it's ABC. Did you talk about Bernie Sanders' rape fantasy? And if this had been a Republican candidate, any Republican candidate, Rick Santorum told me they'd be out. It happened on Friday. Mother Jones released it Friday. By Monday, he said they would be out. What's your take on this whole thing?
I agree with Rick Santorum on that. My little tiny victory, working deep inside, the belly of the established media, is that we just didn't talk about Bernie Sanders. But I think, I mean, if the headline is there's a double standard,
You did not talk about Bernie Sanders.
We did not talk about Bernie Sanders.
Now, was that a conscious decision at The View?
Well, he's not going to be the nominee. He's not going to be the president. And I feel like all the people that are
yeah, but
talking about him
Congressman
are just-
Aiken wasn't even running for president, and that whole Tampa convention was dubbed the convention of rapists.
Listen, I completely agree with you, and I accept the assertion, and I think we have all the proof we need that there's a double standard in the media. But I think that, you know, we didn't talk about him because at The View we just take a little bite of political stories, and it wasn't the biggest political story
Gotcha.
of the day. But he certainly deserves to be disqualified as a candidate, but I don't think anyone views him as viable. So that
All right.
was my
Well,
only
he got
point.
41% in the Wisconsin straw poll to 49 for Hillary. Nicolle, we'll speak to you soon. The book, Madam President. Nicolle Wallace, thank you very much. Jonathan Tobin is next, folks. Don't go away.